recording? Okay. All right, so this is the Pile PCMT20 clamp meter. I've never turned one of these on before, but all these clamp meters are about the same. First, this section here, if you're testing AC, alternating current, they call it that because we have a wave that goes up and down. That's standard household current. This one, you got to turn it to about what range you're going to be in. Are you testing something that Are you testing something that's going to be in the 4 amp range, 40 amp range, 400 amp range? If you're checking the main clamps or the main wires coming into an electrical service, you got to think how much power is coming in. If it's a 100 amp service, how much is being used at one time? It's probably going to be a fairly small amount, 20, 40 amps, something like that. You're good in the 40 amp range there. That's probably what you're going to use for anything you're testing inside a panel, and that's to check the amperage on a wire. It's how much is going through there, and that's what this clamp is for. And it's only for amperage on AC. If it's DC, if you're trying to check power on a car battery, this does not check that. And it works because every wire throws off an electrical magnetic field. And so if I take these two wires and I put it over these two, the hot and the neutral, they cancel each other out. I won't be able to take a reading at all. It'll just tell me 0. I've got to grab only one of those wires. So if you take an extension cord, you put it over an extension cord, it'll always tell you 0. If it doesn't tell you 0, you got a big problem. But you put it over one wire and it'll tell you how much current's going through there. So that's what we use the clamp portion for inside of a panel. And if you narrow down the circuit, it doesn't matter whether you're testing the hot or the neutral, they should always be identical. So that's the clamp portion of this. And then for some of these other settings, let's see here, this one does temperature. Another one that we use frequently is voltage, DC and AC. This one's auto ranging, I guess. On most of the ones that I've ever used, you have to switch it to either an AC or a DC. This one does both. But if we come down here to a outlet here, and take these probes off. We'll stick it in here. We should get whatever the current is for this building between hot and neutral. It should be around 120, something close to that. It's usually not exactly 120, but this is telling me it's DC. This one does have something we got to switch. There's a mode button on here. All right, so I switched it over to AC. Now we're getting a good reading. 120.8 volts. If we go between hot and ground, we should get exactly the same. 120.8 volts, because the ground and neutral get connected at the main panel. And it is, 120.8. And then if we go between the ground and neutral, we should get 0. Better get 0. It's telling me 0.06, and if I just hold them in the air or I touch it or something, I might get a little. So that's basically 0. So that's measuring voltage, and then it's also got a feature on here where we can measure resistance. And this will do a few different things. It's got a bunch of different pictures on the resistance setting. I think the default is resistance. We're checking how much resistance you have between these two leads. If I grab it with my fingers, it registers a lot of resistance. It's measuring, what is it here, about 30 ohms or something like that between my fingers. So there is a little electrical flow. If I touch them together, it should read 0 resistance. Yeah, it's a 0. If I pull it away, it's overload. There's so much resistance, it's off the scale. And then another mode you can switch it to here is the beep mode, just to check for continuity. I think that's, let's see. There, it's got a little speaker type icon here. Now if they both touch a metal surface and the resistance is essentially 0, you can use this for checking fuses, checking ends of wires, it'll beep. Not a great sounding beep, but it's supposed to just beep when the wires touch each other. So you can check that for continuity. If you got a fuse, beep, okay, we know there's current going through there. that's all I can think of to show you. That's the most common stuff that I end up using this for. Any questions before we wrap up here? Bill? Tess? Okay.
Good.
All right.